You're live on GBC News, and it's time for news. Hello, good afternoon. I'm Siyoko Kwakucha. You're welcome to the news. A meeting has taken place at Parliament House with stakeholders on the Criminal Offences Amendment Bill and the Armed Forces Amendment Bill 2022. It was an engaging discussion on the draft bill to replace the death penalty with life imprisonment. The Member of Parliament for Medina, Mr. Francis Xavier Sosu, had earlier submitted to Parliament a private member's bill that seeks to remove the death penalty from the country's statute books.
Since 1993, Ghana has not carried out any execution, as death sentences in most cases have been commuted to life imprisonment. Statistics from the Ghana Prison Service also show that no executions were carried out in 2020. The 2020 Amnesty International Global Report on Death Penalty described Ghana as being death penalty abolitionist in practice. From records, it appears then that Ghana was gradually moving towards abolishing the death penalty. In this regard, there have been various proposals to amend laws to replace the death penalty with life sentences. In 2021, the Member of Parliament for Medina, Mr. Francis Xavier Sosu, who is also the Deputy Ranking Member of the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee, submitted a private member's bill to abolish the death penalty in the country. The meeting at Parliament House was therefore to interact with stakeholders on the draft bill. Sponsors for the proposal for the amendment of the Criminal Offences Act and the Armed Forces Act were of the view that execution is not punishment.
Executing someone because they have taken someone's life is revenge. These people that are determined to commit crime have something pushing them more than the word death.
Practically, if we are able to knock down Section 46, that's the murder, the ones on smuggling, piracy, these other provisions, we would be up there, and knocking down the rest wouldn't be as difficult as it is today, where you've not even taken a chunk off.
European Commission, to qualify as a member, you must have repealed death penalty from your statutes. Now, is there evidence that having repealed the death rate or the murder rate is high in that country? And there is no evidence to that effect. So it is a myth, and we must dissolve it.
Stakeholders from the security services, academia, diplomatic community, civil society organizations, faith-based organizations, and Parliament later made known their position on the matter. The MP for Medina, Mr. Francis Xavier Sosu, said the time has possibly come for Ghana's Parliament to consider whether to have a policy shift in the mandatory death penalty regime.
If killing in any form is wrong, then it will be wrong whether it is state-sponsored or is by a private individual. Way back in 2011, the Constitutional Review Commission recommended that we should abolish the penalty. Unfortunately, it will require constitutional amendment, and that is entrenched provision. So I understand why it's been so difficult for the state to do a referendum to amend the death penalty. But at least that presents us, if I say us, we members of parliament with the opportunity to use the private members bill to amend the Criminal and Other Offences Act that have death penalty as punishment.
If the move becomes successful, Ghana will join Sierra Leone as shining examples in West Africa and the continent as a whole in the agenda to abolish the death penalty. Rachel Quarty, GBC News, Parliament.
The 14th prosecution witness in the ongoing murder trial of slain military officer Major Maxwell Adam Mahama has told the Criminal Court 1 Division of the Accra High Court that residents of Dentro Boase fled from the town after the military stormed it. The investigator in the case, Chief Inspector Samuel Ijakwa said he could not tell if their action was in fear of what had happened, but they abandoned their town after the army took over following the murder of the late soldier.
On Monday, April 11, 2022, while under further cross-examination from defense lawyers led by Enimado, Chief Inspector Samuel Ejakwa said the army stormed the town after the incident. However, the town was deserted due to the presence of the military. Answering why persons who were not captured on the videos were arrested, he said the arrest was made through intelligence and information received. Chief Inspector Jakwa also informed the court that all the suspects in the alleged lynching of Major Maxwell Adam Mahama were arrested and a warrant issued by the court for the arrest of those who are yet to be apprehended and publications made by the police in the public for their arrest. Major Maxwell Adam Mahama was allegedly attacked and killed by a group of youth in Dentro Boase on the morning of May 29, 2017, when he was on a morning walk through the town. According to information, his alleged killers claimed to have mistaken the late soldier for an armed robber because he had a gun strapped to his waist. 22 suspects, including one female, were initially arrested in connection to the crime, but was reduced to 14 suspects during committal proceedings. The 14 suspects currently facing trial include former Assembly member of Dentro Boase, Mr. William Ba. They have all pleaded not guilty to charges of murder, abetment to murder, and conspiracy to commit murder. The court, presided over by Justice Mariama Owusu, a justice of the Court of Appeal, sitting with an additional responsibility as a High Court judge after the incident. However, the town was deserted due to the presence of
Government has invested $740 million in 8 water supply projects and $1.2 million in rural water supply to improve potable water access nationwide. The projects are at various levels of implementation and expected to benefit an additional 5 million people in the water supply chain upon completion in 2023. The Minister of Sanitation and Water Resources, Madam Cecilia Dapa, announced this in Accra on Monday when she updated the public on the government's interventions in the sector to improve access. Into the minister include the Yendi, Tamale, Damongo, Bolgatanga, Winchi, Sunyain, Keta and Sekendita Kradi water supply projects. The 2021 population and housing census disclosed that access to potable water was averagely pegged at 87.7% nationwide, with urban areas having 96.4% access and 74.4% for rural areas. The sanitation minister said the investment in the water supply sector reflected the government's desire to improve access by every Ghanaian in line with the Water for All agenda, and was also committed to at least provide each region with one water supply system.
These interventions in the water subsector are expected to add over 5 million beneficiaries to the national water supply chain. It is here 4.3. But when you round up everything, including rural water, we'll be getting the 5 million.
At the Meet the Press series in Accra, The minister, however, bemoaned some negative human activities that were hindering the implementation of those interventions and noted that of the 53.2 billion cubic meters of Ghana's natural freshwater endowment, only 14% was being utilized.
Our concern, I must stress, is that if we are borrowing close to $1 billion to do projects, and the raw water sources are contaminated, polluted, and the machines will be drawing in mud, where are we going, and what do we want to do with our water bodies? We have our own people mining in the river bodies and in the buffer areas, and this must stop.
The minister said there was a need for collaborative efforts to increase the number of water monitoring stations to stop such unregulated human activities. The Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources would soon embark on house-to-house audit to deal with illegal water connections by individuals to prevent loss of revenue by the Ghana Water Company Limited. In a bid to avert Ghana's depleting fish stock, the government says the closed season will begin from July to August 2022 for both artisanal and industrial fishing fleets. The sector minister, Madam Hawa Kumson, made the announcement during a visit to the Temakeno landing beach. The closed season forms part of measures of the ministry to achieve sustainable fishing.
The term closed season or biological rest period refers to the stopping of fishing during the spawning period of the fish. Data gathered by the Ministry for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, Fisheries Commission and stakeholders from the previous closed season indicated that the initiative is yielding positive results. Reintroduced by government in 2019 to, among other objectives, allow recovery of the country's overexploited and depleted fish stocks, a closed season will be most successful when other types of fishing pressure are also controlled, such as the use of illegal small mesh-sized nets, light fishing, use of poisons and toxic chemicals and explosives. Some canoe owners and fisherfolk have, however, expressed concern over its implementation. According to them, the unregulated fishing activities of industrial trawlers are defeating the purpose of the closed season.
The premise fuel should not be bringing to, let me say, the fishing harbor for others to sell, because I'm saying it in a sense that some of them that are not fishermen will come and buy the fuel and be selling it a higher price to the fishermen. So the best thing for, let me say, the government to do is that, like, they should send it to, let me say, filling stations so that they will go and buy it there. I think for that place, nobody is going to sell it a higher price.
The fisherfolk urged the Ministry for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development and the Fisheries Commission to engage players in the sector to ensure the success of the exercise.
Fishermen these days embark on a fishing activity they term as scientific fishing. There's this chemical they call bio. When it is dipped into the sea, the fishes follow this bio and find themselves in another jurisdiction or country. Government should therefore ban this activity. Government should try and get rid of the metallic canoes fishermen use for fishing. In my opinion, the 1 month closed season is a very good thing, because fishermen can use this period to rest and also mend their nets.
Industry players are asking the sector minister to get tough on fishermen who failed to heed to the closed season directive and intensify their operations after the closed season to ensure that the gains made were not eroded by illegal fishing practices.
Still on fishing, the secretary of the Ghana Tuna Association, Mr. Rischa Amafio says with Ghana's quest to attain fish sustainability, there is a need for broader engagement with partners in the local fishery sector who share the same ideals. He said this will help drive a reduction in illegal fishing and give local fishers a voice to build a more robust fishing sector. The tuna industry contributes over $350 million annually.
Our approach to fisheries management needs to change. Once that changes, you are then more likely to rope in a lot more people. It has to do more with the managers of our fishery resources, who probably would need to now go into discussions, and it should be more of broader stakeholders and we discussing that, look, these are the issues. Because you see, it's not enough to tell people not to go fishing for 1 month. There are a number of implications. There are security implications, there are local economic implications and all that. So you need a broader stakeholder consultation when you want to do some of these things and how you manage the fallout. And until we get to that level where we know that fisheries management is not a preserve of the Fisheries Commission or the Ministry of Fisheries, and that it involves broader stakeholders, including industry, probably local assembly, even Ministry of Environment, and now that you have hydrocarbon activities, you start engaging at that level, you will not be able to solve a lot of the fisheries management problem.
The Ghana Police Service has launched a special operation aimed at ensuring strict compliance to road traffic regulations by motorcyclists. The operation, dubbed Police Action Against Rider Indiscipline PARI, will see a special team of police riders with body cams stationed around major intersections and other strategic locations to monitor the activities of motorcyclists. We'll soon have the Director of Public Affairs at the Ghana Police Service, Superintendent Alexander Obin, who has promised to join us soon for us to have a conversation on this operation. And still on ensuring safety on our roads and the enforcement of road safety regulations, the National Road Safety Authority, together with other stakeholders, are stepping up efforts to ensure that the Easter period and beyond is devoid of accidents. The authority launched a new campaign this morning in Accra.
Stay Alive road safety campaign that we launched last year, that we got the media to be committed to help us and support us. That has gone this far. Our analysis in the past, after the campaign, we evaluated it and we saw that we have now hit the 80% mark as far as awareness creation is concerned. I commend the National Road Safety Authority in particular, even though I belong to the institution, and all our stakeholders, including the media. But we have not finished the job. We have more to do. Between now through Easter and beyond to the Christmas, I think we need to do more. Strengthen our collaboration and educate the people, sensitize them to the highest level. And we expect the IGP and his men to also support us with enforcement. Because if you continue to do education, if you don't enforce it, then somebody say you are doing entertainment. We don't want to entertain anybody. We are doing serious business on the road. And so we need a support.
And our reporter Nane Chabwaji was at the launch of the new measures by the National Road Safety Authority and is with me in the studio to tell us more on improving road safety in the country. Good afternoon, Echa.
Good afternoon.
And how are you doing?
I'm fine. Yourself?
Fine. You were oh, very good. You were at the launch this morning.
Yeah.
So can you tell us some of the discussions or the main discussions on road safety at today's launch?
With the effort to curb road carnages in the country, the National Road Safety Authority launched its Stay Alive campaign to help reduce road accidents in the country. So today they were at New Plant Station to engage the drivers, road users and commuters to understand the need for them to stay alive to help contribute the progress of the country. And I think that since the launch of this campaign, they have really come out with some positive results. So I would like to let you know some statistics so far. It indicates that a total of 734 persons lost their life through road crashes between January and March this year, 2022, and also 4,025 persons also sustained various degrees of injuries through crashes in the same period, that is January and March 2022. That means that a total of 3,932 crashes were reported involving 6,587 vehicles, and also 712 pedestrians were also knocked down. This means that in 2022 there's been some decrease as compared to last year, with 1.92% in the country. I think that there have been some positive results. And today, they also introduced some new measures.
Before you go, although there's a decrease, it's just marginal, and I think the numbers or the figures are still very high.
Yeah.
And we can attribute this to indiscipline on our roads.
Sure.
So definitely they've launched, the launch was to give new, tell us new measures that they've introduced. So you can go ahead and give us some of the new measures introduced.
They have some system which is called telematic road safety systems. With it is a small machine. They take it to the lorry stations to make sure that for a particular bus they take information from passengers, the drivers, to make sure in case there is any casualty, they will know the number of people on board and the drivers, and also they take information about their family members, the next of kin, so that if anything happened, at least they will know a total of number which was involved in the accident. And also, they also launched an information center where this one has to dial *194 to report safety problems on our roads. And also, they also try to talk to the drivers to have 2 or 3 drivers for long journeys, so that in case one gets tired, one can also assist to help reduce road accidents. We know that it is an individual and collective obligation to make sure that we all fight against road accidents in the country. So they called the general public, they also called society, they called individuals, they called stakeholders to come together to win the fight against road safety in the country.
So the major stakeholders in on this particular issue were present at the function. So what have they been saying on how we can improve on road safety?
They want to do now is to educate the public by using the media. So it's also our responsibility as media people to also do more stories, educate the public to help reduce this
from
problem.
The authority?
From the authority.
So what about the police and drivers?
They are all part. They are all part. Police, ambulance services, they are all part to make sure that they also play their individual roles to help reduce this menace in the country. So for this Easter festivity, policemen will be in strategic road point to make sure that drivers don't drink whilst they are driving, they don't do unnecessary overspeeding and other things to help reduce this problem.
But how are they going to ensure this? Because the driver may be drunk before, you know, going on the way. So at every
point or at every stage, there will be a policeman there to check. So it's very, very important. And I think speaking to the MTTD, they are ready to help road safety in this regard. And we know that Friday is Easter, and there will be a lot of activities, so they'll be on board to help reduce this problem in the country.
Nanecha, thank you very much. I know that you'll give us a full version of this story in our 7 o'clock bulletin. You're still watching News live on GBC News. And very soon we'll be joined by Alexander Obin. So we'll take a short break, and he joins us to tell us more. Thank you very much. Ghana Police Service has launched a special operation aimed at ensuring strict compliance to road traffic regulations by motorcyclists. The operation, dubbed Police Action Against Rider Indiscipline, will see a special team of police riders with body cams stationed around major intersections and other strategic locations to monitor the activities of motorcyclists. In the studio to throw more light on this is the Director of Public Affairs at the Ghana Police Service, Superintendent Alexander Obin. Good afternoon, Superintendent, and thank you so much for joining us on News. So it's a good effort in checking discipline on our roads. So this operation was launched somewhere last week. So can you tell us the outcome so far?
All right, thank you very much for the opportunity. And good afternoon to viewers across. I think currently the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Francis Abwajinyakon, who has been to be the Director General Motor Traffic and Transport Department of Ghana Police Service, is leading a team to certain specify stations within the city of Accra, where this operation was launched, and I'm talking the one you just mentioned, PARI, which is Police Action Against Rider Indiscipline, otherwise called Operation PARI, which is a platform on which a lot of planned interventions in terms of enforcement is going to be rolled along. And since last week, and since our deployment, a lot of arrests have been made at strategic junctions. A lot of motorcycle riders have been arrested. Motorcycles have been impounded. And since yesterday, the team led by the MTTD Director General is interacting with these offenders who either run red light, amber light, among other varying offenses that expose motorcycle riders to danger. And as directed by the Inspector General of Police, Dr. Dampara Police Administration, all those that have been arrested have been stretched with a police hand of Easter, so that they will not be put before court, but warned and issued with a warning letter on a prescribed police form under the hand of the Director General to refrain from such behaviors that over the years has exposed motorcycle riders to danger, i.e. getting themselves crashed. And when you look at the data that your compatriot was reading to you, which was basically issued by Motor Traffic and Transport Department from all our police 18 regions, you observe that for the past 4 years, and that was also critical in the release that we gave, that of the road user class, i.e. the private, commercial and motorcycle road users in Ghana, though we have few motorcycle riders on our road, they die more as against the other two. And the period under review, with the 730 plus deaths within January and March this year, about 300 fatalities are attributable to motorcycle related injury. And that is the lead killer of the road user class. And therefore, since we are clear under the National Road Safety Strategy 3 and our empirical research done, it's always true that with the 100 deaths, motorcycles seem to be the lead. And the influencing factor always has to be the human behavior. And that is also critical for police mandate to ensure that we put in stringent and proactive strategies that will either deter, that will either increase sense of apprehension, and will also lead to sanction by putting same to court. And that is why.
So is that the reason why the attention is on motorcyclists and not drivers of other vehicles?
It is an added strategy, because under the period under review, about 730 over Ghanaians have been put before court and have been convicted within 3 months of this year. One is in jail. The rest, the court imposed over 600,000 Ghana cedis on them as punitive fine.
One is in jail.
What? Yeah, to refrain.
Traffic offense.
Oh yeah, varying traffic offenses. But like I've said, any traffic or road safety intervention should be data-led. And that is why since 1991, the Ghana Police Service has been the lead in churning out collated accident cases that are reported across the country for such analysis. And today, if National Road Safety Authority with these stakeholders launch the Easter campaign, I believe the pivotal information they gave was the crash report from January to March, first quarter. It is a service that police service delivered, and that is why they launched on to read out to Ghanaians. And that attribution, I believe, was made anyway. Otherwise, it was from our desk. And that is what guides police, because policing is sometimes on our feet. It is as it's happening. What can you do? And that is why the police service has come up, among other gamut of strategies that are being rolled out. Now you realize that our roads are freer. Incidence of crime is scaling down. And in terms of problems that we have in the southern third of Ghana, where the public health has become an issue in terms of road use by motorcycle, being vulnerable road users, police is positioned and is also responsible to ensure that problems that are associated with the use of motorcycle by vulnerable road users are checked. And among other strategies that we use to support, which is part of our service delivery, is not to sit aloof. As Mr. General Police keeps on saying, talk is cheap. And policing is activity-based, which is in tandem with road safety. Road safety is intervention-based. And therefore, this is a clear strategy, Operation Parry. Also targeting where Ghana has a problem. So Ghana, one problem Ghana has, which is a scar on road safety conscience, is the number of deaths that we are registering on our roads that are not supposed to happen, but because of indiscipline and indiscriminate use of motorcycle, a lot of preventable decimation of lives are ongoing, and that is why we have brought it, in addition to existing one. And that doesn't mean that if you are using four-wheeler, you will not check your speed. When you are not on your, when you are drunk, we will not check you. When your vehicle is not roadworthy, you will not check. You will do that. But in addition, I'm saying one user class, road user class that is threatened, it's motorcycle. And of course, we don't have to sit aloof. As service-oriented, our laws are clamoring for us to help. And road safety agencies are also seeking ways of dealing with the use, indiscriminate use of motorcycle. I don't think this one will come on board to support. No wonder. When it started last week, a lot of impoundment and arrests have been made. But we think that as part of a strategy of prevention, that's why the team is out there, now I'm speaking. And when you go on our GH Ghana Police Service on social media, you will see us streaming live.
So can you tell us the modus operandi for Operation Parry? Because so far you've been telling me the officers are stationed here, stationed there. What would the layman understand from station here and station there? What is the modus operandi?
Basically, road safety is manifested on public roads, public places, and major conflict areas, hazardous areas, like junctions, be it runabouts, be it crossroad, be it T-junction, particularly in Accra. We can mention Ghana Standard Authority. We can mention Zongo Junction on the J.J. Rawlings Avenue, formerly Accra Buraburi Road, for example. And on then the N6. We are talking about from Circle through Ship House right through to Ofako on the J. Kufuor Avenue, formerly called Nsaho Road, and then on the N1, and we're talking about the road from Malam Junction all the way down, and then on the Winneba Road, from Kanishi Market down to First Light, to Odoko and Buzia Junction, and all these areas have been saturated with police officers who are trained and given appropriate gear on public motorbikes that are registered in police service named GP and are labeled with beacon lights, among others, to work diurnally and nocturnally, and with protective clothing to also communicate to other compatriot riders that That is what the law requires of us to do in under Regulation 84 of the LI 2180, to at least wear crash helmet among others, and then to behave like a rider who has been licensed by DVLA under Regulation 25 in terms of license acquisition and the training that is so required, and inculcated that if you are a rider and you hold license A, Ghana driver's license A, that permits any Ghanaian 18 years and above to sit on a registered motorbike on our road, otherwise called a vehicle, on a road, because it is a public place and they all have access, including school children, elderly, the sick, the blind, and those who walk with sticks, and the abled. What is required that we drive like drivers, in moderation, stop at junction per the traffic rules, you know. Red means stop, amber means stop, green means you may go, and if you run over the stop line, police officers that are deployed on motorbikes are equipped with photographic equipment. Good. And there are also teams from the Public Affairs Directorate under the Director General of Ghana Police as a Public Affairs. This will be Mr. Fori. They are deployed with still and video cameras in support of the existing one and the body cams to capture motorcycle riders who are flouting our rules, who are running red light and amber lights, and who will be followed, stopped, apprehended, investigated, charged, put before court. The court outcome will be communicated with names, and that will include name and shame. And same will be shared with our media partners. And this is what we have started. But we said that the first outcome, we want to strengthen the olive branch by using warning letter for all others to know that henceforth, after this, if you commit, we will be quick to go to court, as we have been, where over 700 of road offenders have been convicted by the motor court. One is being confined to the Gola jail, and the rest, over 600,000 Ghana cedis as court fines have been imposed. This we pledge to do. However, as public service oriented, without our laws, what is police? And that's why we are here, that this is the service that we have been called to deliver, and we'll share it. We'll be very proactive, but moving on to, we'll be very reactive.
Fine. So on that score, you know, we've had similar operations or exercises, but they just fizzled out. So how long will this operation last, and how are you going to sustain it?
I said Operation Parry has a lot of wings. This is one of the aspects that we have seen. Police on motorbike deployed to follow those who are flouting, for them to be forthcoming. A lot are on the way. In other words, until motorcycle riders behave like their compatriots in Tamale, Greater Tamale, and Wa, among others, where they stop at stop lines, in the Southern Third, in Accra, in Tema, in Ho, in Koforidua, in Sekendi, Takoradi, in Kumasi, among others, police will be there day and night to ensure that those who will not comply will not be allowed to cause suicide and cause collateral damage. They will be arrested and put before court. Their court is ready for us until all comply, which is one of our policy, that without compliance of law, police will not sleep and will come after you. And that is what we are seeing.
So finally, Easter is just around the corner. So aside Operation Parry, what other measures is the police service putting in place to ensure sanity on our roads?
I think Christmas came, same questions were asked. Not much was said, but on the ground, Ghanaians ended up speaking and saying that, it seems the environment is saturated with both uniformed personnel and unseen ones who were also there, and made it difficult for those who were willing and capable from committing Christmas-related crime from doing it. Same is going to happen. And therefore, the epicenter of Easter, you know where it is, on the scalp, Kwawi area and all those areas. You begin to see a scale-up police presence, The public affairs will be there. We will rock shoulders with our media partners in our stand, with our photo gallery.
Good.
We will want to engage the media in morning shows and all that on policing issues.
That's good.
We will patrol on motorbike. We will saturate the environment. Traffic police officers will be deployed. Armed police officers will be out there day and night to ensure that as the roads are free with fewer roadblocks, criminals will not have the field day. Note that those who are without are many than those who are with. Are you with me?
Exactly.
So if you are out there to enjoy Christmas and Easter festivity 2022, enjoy it, knowing very well that you don't know who is after you, because police, we are everywhere, and that is why we are collaborating with the general public everywhere. And yesterday, let me take the opportunity to commend the Tema Regional Command, that together with our social media, they were everywhere within the region from 9 a.m. engaging all stakeholders, the chiefs and people, transport operators and opinion leaders, till about 11 p.m. where it ended at Adan. And this has been the strategy, and we will continue. Without the general public, police doesn't exist, and therefore we will roll on whatever you say, and we make sure that same is delivered. However, miscreants, those who are out there to steal, who are out there to use arms, as has been said, if you use unnecessary force, police will be calling to ensure you are met with the same and equal force. And
a word of caution there by Superintendent Alexander Obeng. Thank you so much for the insight and telling us all that the police is up to for Easter and beyond. You're still watching News live on GBC News. We're taking a short break. We'll be back with the business segments. Please don't go away.
There are strong women whose stories teach us perseverance, logic, decisiveness, and self-confidence. Being strong is not just about physical abilities, but also emotional, intellectual, and mental strength. Women's Voice is a platform to hear and share stories to encourage women and girls. Women are the real architects of society. It is they who provide the foundation of power, grace, wisdom, justice, creativity, and hope. Join us live every Monday at 4 p.m. on GBC News and GTV, Wednesdays live at 4 p.m. on GBC News and a repeat on Saturdays at 4 p.m. on GBC News and Sundays at 3 p.m. also on GBC News. Women's Voice. No one can make you inferior without your consent.
Hello, let's do business with me, Esther Edu Ohumeu. The Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, has called on the government to reconsider a decision to migrate traders from the VAT flat rate scheme to the new standard rate scheme. In a statement, the president of GUTA, Dr. Joseph Obeng, said the standard rate scheme is not uniform but discriminatory. The statement implies that the trading community finds the new standard rate scheme too cumbersome, which may force many out of business. The statement indicates that businesses will be destroyed if policymakers make payment of taxes difficult. They want a simplified tax system such as the VAT flat rate scheme, which is easy for them to understand and calculate. To GUTA's president, Dr. Obeng, the VAT scheme should be either a flat rate scheme for all traders or a uniform standard rate scheme that ensures fairness and equity. Otherwise, it should be optional for the traders to choose between the VAT flat rate scheme and the new standard rate scheme. Members of GUTA, as indicated in the statement, are not willing to be migrated onto the new standard rate scheme. Guta therefore calls on the government to carefully and seriously consider all the stated facts and act accordingly. The persistent rise in the prices of petroleum products at the pumps in the last couple of months is expected to stabilize. The chief executive of the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors, Mr. Senyo Hosi, says such an outcome is expected as the Bank of Ghana has introduced a foreign exchange forward auction for bulk oil distributing companies, BDCs.
The move by the Bank of Ghana is also expected to help restore certainty in market trends, check inflation, and positively impact the disposable income of workers. The chief executive of the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors, Mr. Senyo Hosi, said the step taken would help minimize currency speculations and also improve the credit confidence of suppliers. Crude oil prices have been volatile in recent weeks following Russia's invasion of Ukraine, with the commodity selling at $99.19 per barrel on the international market as of Friday, April 8. This is a reduction from the highest price of about $130 per barrel in the last couple of months. This rising price of crude oil on the international market, coupled with the depreciation of the cedi, has led to high fuel prices at the pumps in Ghana. Its attendant effect has been rising inflation, which currently stands at 15.7%. Mr. Hosi said the chamber was grateful to the central bank for providing structured support to stabilize fuel price fluctuations. In an attempt to address the shortage of dollars for the local petroleum sector and also help the BDCs to meet their monthly import bill of $300 million, the BOG last week introduced a foreign exchange forward auction for BDCs operating in the country. This is intended to minimize the uncertainty of the future availability of foreign exchange. And aid price discovery, especially for the general pricing window within the downstream sector. According to the central bank's guidelines, the FX forward auctions, which are exclusive for BDCs licensed by the National Petroleum Authority, NPA, are only on a forward basis at a 30-day auction tenure of a targeted amount as determined by the bank. In the maiden auction of March 30, 2022, the central bank sold about $104.86 million above the auction target of $100 million at a rate of 7.39 cedis to a dollar, with the BOG cautioning all participating BDCs to fully comply with the rules and regulations governing the auction process. Mr. Hosi gave an assurance that the chamber itself would put in place mechanisms to ensure that all members complied. He said the chamber would also put in place measures to eliminate a situation where any BDC would take the forex and use it for other purposes.
Let's have the interbank and commodity figures for the day.